So we are in the introduction of Siddur Zichron Dovid, and we spoke yesterday, started to speak about the Merkava meditation, the part of the Yud Ki Vav Ki with the vowels, right? And today we're going to speak about the second introduction about the Sefirot. Like after we got the basic understanding of the 10 Sefirot and what to do with it, meditation-wise. Now we want to bring it to another level of understanding, the connection between the different Sefirot, how does it work, yeah? Everybody got the place? Yeah? Okay. Please.
Different divisions in the 10 Sefirot. There are multiple ways of dividing and grouping these 10 Sefirot. We will start with the setup of Chokhmah, Binah, and Da'at, abbreviated as Chabad, which are the Sefirot of the Mochin, intelligence. We can then split the bottom 7 into 3 groups. On the top, the Sefirot of Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Chagat, which are the Sefirot of the emotions. In the middle, the Sefirot of Netzach, Od Yesod, Nehai, which are the Sefirot of expression. And the bottom, Machut, is the last Sefirah and the beginning of the next realm below.
Okay, so to understand this better, let's use the diagram that we have in the back of the Siddur. Okay, really it is like the certain visual presentation of meditation of the bracha, but also we have here the structure of the 10 Sefirot, right? So we have, how do I do that? Chokhmah, Binah, Da'at. Yeah? You with me?
No, I am.
Okay. We have Chokhmah, Binah, and Da'at. It's very confusing.
I see it.
Thank you. Yeah? Chokhmah, Binah, and Da'at. Chesed, Gevura, and Tiferet, Netzach, Od, and Yesod. Right? Yeah? Yeah. So it goes Chabad, Chagat, Nai. Yeah? Chabad, Chagat, Nai. Right? So I'm ignoring right now the Keter and the Malchut, the above and below, and I'm relating to the 9 Sefirot in the middle, and I'm splitting them to horizontal wise. Yeah? Horizontal lines. And when I'm saying Chabad, so I'm doing right and left and center, right? Chokhmah, Binah, Da'at, Chabad. Chokhmah, Binah, Da'at. Chagat, the same thing. Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet. Right, left, center. And Nai, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. Yeah? Now, when you hear it first time, so it sounds like, okay, so what's like, why do you need to say that? We have the 10 Sefirot, like why do you need to use those abbreviations to put them in those groups of 3? But in a matter of fact, this is something that is very, very useful, and whoever is involved with Kabbalah sees it all the time, all over the place. Yeah, and we are using those terms to speak about other things, meaning we're using that as a borrowed terms to explain other things. So, for example, just giving an example, if I want to speak about the stage of pregnancy, I can call it Nahi. I want to speak about the stage of childhood, I can speak about Chagat. I want to speak about stage of maturity, I speak about Chabad, for example. Yeah, so I'm using those terms of Chabad, Chagat, Nai for many, many aspects, many, many things. What I said now is just one example. There's many, many examples. So whoever is involved with that, it's very, very important to know those divisions. It's not just like, I was really trying to keep this introduction that it will be like short and on the spot. So the fact that I decided to put it here, it's really needed. It's not just technical. Okay, let's go.
Another way to arrange the 10 Sefirot is by separating the first 3 Sefirot abbreviated as Chabad, from the last 7 Sefirot, abbreviated as Chachtani.
Chagat Nayam.
Chagat Nayam.
Yeah, Chagat is Chesed Gvura Tiferet. Nayam is Netzach Od Yesod Malchut.
Isn't Chagat
The
similar
lower,
to like Chugat? Like a law of or something? Chugat?
No.
No? Not like that, never mind.
the lower 7 are further subdivided into 2 as the 6 Ketzavot, Chagat Nahi, and Malchut.
Okay, so we have 10 Sefirot. Okay, I'm not relating right now to the Keter. I'm starting from Chokhmah, and within Chokhmah I have Chokhmah, Bina, and that's Chabad. So that's the top 3, and that's basically the abundance of Mochin that we want to achieve. Okay, that's why it's important for us. And the lower 7 Sefirot, as I mentioned here, Chagat Nayam, or Chagat Nai and Malchut, is the lower part that needs those Mochin. Okay? So in a certain way, we can say that our existence is the lower 7 Sefirot, Chagat Nayam, and what we want is the Chabad. What we want is the abundance of the Mochin. Okay? That will be a true statement. And that's in a big extent, that's what we're doing in the prayer. We are working on bringing those mochin, which is the spiritual abundance, and connecting that to the spiritual realms, and that the result of that is that we are getting that as well. Our neshama is receiving this spiritual abundance, right? And when our neshama is receiving this spiritual abundance, so then it gives us the way to connect to Hashem. Okay? And this is the ultimate goal, as I said many times.
How can one know the Creator? The same way the king uses all his people and creatures and all the attributes, the qualities that are expressed, to run his kingdom, we should reciprocate and strive to use all our traits and faculties to recognize the Creator and serve Him with our whole being, from the physical dimension to the highest spiritual realm. We do this by being loyal subjects and looking to do the mitzvahs for the sake of revealing the divine honor of Hashem in the world.
Okay, so that's really it's not a side point. It's a very main point, but it's not really a continuation of what we were discussing. But in a certain way, it is. Why? Because those 7 lower sefirot that we mentioned, Chagat Nayam, that I just said that this is in a certain way our existence. So this is also our traits, right? Each one have a certain measurement of chesed. One person more, one person less, but everybody have a certain measurement of chesed. Everybody have a certain measurement of gvura. Everybody have, right, and so on and so forth. Each one of us have a certain measurement of those attributes. And that's what we are using to deal with ourselves and deal with the world around us. Okay? And so when we do that, the question is, what is our goal as we're going along life? So it should be to reveal the honor of Hashem in the world. Okay? Our default is obviously to be self-centered and to look on ourselves, and that's basically the beginning point of view of a baby. For a baby, it's all about him. There's nothing else. There's no other existence except of himself. And the process of maturity is slowly to get to the understanding and that the world is a little bit bigger than ourselves, and we can't just think about ourselves, and we need to open ourselves to take other things in consideration. And as much as we can make our picture broader and put more things into our consideration, this is sign of maturity. Okay? And for example, what will be a good leader? good leader is a leader that is taking in consideration the needs of all of the people that chose him to be a leader, right? If somewhere there is a leader that the people that chose him see that is only thinking about himself, obviously they will kick him off. No one wants a leader like that, right? We want a leader that is taking in consideration what we need, right? So if we looking on ourselves as going in that direction, going in Hashem's way, Hashem is the ultimate leader, right? Meaning, He's looking on the needs of the whole creation, right? Without an exception. Every little need that there is for everything, anything, Hashem is taking care of it, without any exceptions. So as much as we can, we should apply that principle, we should apply this attribute into ourselves. So as much as we can, we need to take more under our responsibility. Okay? It's not an easy process. It's a lifetime adventure, let's put it this way. But that's a big portion of what is growth about, right? To grow, it means to see that there's many needs, and as much as we can apply and supply those needs of the creation, so we're getting closer to Hashem, because we're going in His ways. Okay? And according to that, Hashem is giving us the abundance. When someone is very, very self-centered and he thinks only about himself, so the means that Hashem will give him is only for himself, because that's what he's desiring. When someone is growing and he is trying to take care of others, as much as taking more responsibility for others, so Hashem is giving him the way to make it. That's the basic assumption. Sometimes there is all kinds of things that holds back, but I'm not getting into the details of it. Just like the broad line of the way it works, that's the way it works. Okay? And this is also in a certain way the manifestation of those Chabad that I mentioned before. The spiritual abundance that that wants to connect to the 7 lower Sefirot is any abundance, also physical abundance, same thing. Okay? So whatever is the needs that you are trying to apply and supply, those are the means, or those this is the kind of the abundance, the quality of the abundance that Hashem gives you for yourself and to give to others.
Man, who was made in the image of Hashem, is a pinnacle of creation, and was created to be a dwelling place. Pinnacle of creation.
No, it's pinnacle. Just kidding.
And was created to be a dwelling place on earth for the divine presence. After the sin of Adam, man's job turned into work and toil to repair the damage caused by it. Our job is to rectify ourselves through studying Torah, doing mitzvahs, and perfecting our character traits. By doing so, humanity begins to shed its materialistic body and elevates the soul, thus accessing the soul's innate power. The more we succeed in our Avodat Hashem, the more powerful and effective our prayers become, and that brings us closer to the tikkun of ourselves and the whole world.
Okay, so there's a lot going on. Let's start with the first part, which is we have the beginning point of the creation of man, which is in the image of God. So this is our potential. Okay, our beginning point is also our potential. As much as we are doing the things that we should do to get to our tikkun, to get to the tikkun of the sin of Adam HaRishon, we're getting more and more closer to the beginning point of the creation that holds the maximum potential. Okay? And as much as we will be able to bring this potential to be actual, so that's basically winning the game. Okay? If you want to call it this way, that's to bring the reason of the creation to be that it will be all worth it, right? Meaning, there is the sin of Adam HaRishon, and there is many sins afterwards, unfortunately. And all of those different sins from the sin of Adam HaRishon until the last sin that happened probably a minute ago, a second ago, by someone somewhere, right? All of those sins, without exceptions, everything have to come to tikkun. Okay? This is the basic assumption. Every sin have to get to a tikkun somehow. And obviously Hashem wants us to do it. Hashem wants us to take the responsibility to do the tikkunim. But whatever we don't do, Hashem will do. So it won't be on our merit, it will be on Hashem's shoulder. Okay? But we should try to achieve as much tikkun as we can. And whatever we achieved, that amount of tikkun that we achieved every moment and through our life is our merit to go back to that extent, to that original point of the creation of Adam. As I said, that is the point of the maximum potential, and then we can walk our way to whatever Hashem is giving us the privilege to do, to bring this potential to be actual. Okay? And this is also a life task, and it's also the mission of every moment. Okay? Every moment has all of those different principles inside of it. Every moment, without exceptions. Within every moment, we can take the opportunity to do tikkun and to bring the potential to be actual. We have that possibility every moment. Doesn't matter what you do in that moment, praying, walking in the street, waiting to the traffic light to change, reading a book, whatever it is that you do, speaking with someone, in every moment there is all of those principles. Okay? And to be aware of that, that's part of what I'm trying to apply with those techniques of Jewish meditation. That to get to a level of awareness that is with us through the whole day. Okay? It's not to think that it's only I have some time that I'm working for Hashem, and there is some time that I'm on vacation, that I can do whatever I want. No, it doesn't work this way. We are with Hashem all the time. Say differently, Hashem is with us all the time. The question is, how much of the time we are with Hashem? Okay? As much as we will be with Hashem, that will be our effectiveness of bringing Hashem, revealing Hashem in the world. Okay, let's continue.
In other words, the real way to have the kavanot is through the ascension of the soul. That is, one must raise his consciousness from the body to the soul. Even if you feel you do not merit reaching it, the very fact that one knows the direction is in itself a great accomplishment.
Okay, so let's go back to the example that I just said. Let's say that you are now standing in front of a traffic light and you have about a minute before the traffic light change. And in that minute, you have ultimate possibilities of what to do in that minute. Okay? The regular person will think, what can I do with 1 minute? It's not enough even to pull up something to read. Right? Until I will do something, it will pass this minute. Right? But that when you're looking on the physical activity. If you think about mental activity, about meditation, you can do many things in this 1 minute. Okay? So, let's say that the person is standing now in front of the traffic light, and the only thing that he can think of is about this class now that we were discussing that. and he doesn't really know what to do with it. Okay, so I have a potential, but how do I bring this potential to be actual? What should I do? Okay, so the very fact that you're asking yourself this question, that itself is already using the potential and bring it to be actual in a certain extent. Okay, the fact that you have the desire to do tikkun is you're already going in the way of the tikkun, and that's already very, very significant, because the majority of the world is ignoring this potential, doing everything else except of that. So if you are merit to be one of those few individuals that at least thinks about it and trying to connect to those concepts, that itself is very, very significant. Obviously there's many more steps, but the fact that you are already on the road, that itself is very, very big reason to be happy about your privilege, that you are already part of this club of connecting to Hashem.
Of course, we are accustomed to identifying ourselves only with our physical body, and it is difficult for us to feel a deeper essence.
Okay. So again, the privilege point is to move our consciousness from the physical to the inner being. Okay? Like I said many times when we were practicing the meditation, most of the people today, their consciousness is not even within their physical. It's even more external than the physical. Right? If you think about your phone and who called you and what people tells about your post and all kinds of things like that, so you're not even aware of your physical. So first, to get that our awareness will be within the physical, and then we can make this next step of moving from the physical to the inner being. Okay? So, but there is steps. I'm not saying it's impossible to jump over a step and to make like 2 steps in one move, but usually that's not the case. Usually we take it 1 step at a time.
You're reading Mincha on your phone. What consciousness are you in?
That's a good question. That's a good question. It's not exactly what you're asking, but I'll tell you about. There was a rabbi here in diaspora for 50 years, Rav Schultz, that a couple of years or whatever before he passed away, so the people started to learn with their computer, to learn Torah with their computer. So he told me that he asked one of the people that they were learning with their computer, when you're closing your computer, do you give it a kiss like we do with the book, or you don't?
I don't.
Okay, so that's there is something very, very like, is it the same thing like a book or not, right? In the book, the point is not the custom. When we are reading those words and we're using them to relate and connect to holy things in the spiritual realms, it brings holiness to the book. Okay, so you can't go with the book into the bathroom, but in the computer you change the screen and there's no sanctity there.
The book is only a book. A computer can have more than just prayer on it. So
yeah, so
it's more strictly speaking holy.
So
fine.
I'm not saying that you're not allowed to pray mincha with your phone. I'm not saying that. Like it's much better to pray mincha with your phone than not praying mincha. But when you have a siddur, that it's your siddur, and you're putting your tears and efforts into this siddur, and every time you have an idea, you can write it inside, and you see it afterwards. It makes it's a different thing. It's not the same. Okay.
Furthermore, all our views of the world and ourselves can be external or internal. That is, all the three people that we described looked at the bookcase externally. However, one can see the bookcase on a more internal level, appreciating the content and information that is written in its books.
Right. So, what? That was a while ago. This example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say over the example that we used, because it was we don't really remember what was the example. We spoke about three people that are looking on a bookcase, and each one of them have a different job. One of them is a designer, architect. So he's looking on like how it will fit into the apartment that he's designing. Another one is a furniture seller. So he's looking on the value, how much he can sell it, how much it's worth. Another one is a carpenter. So he's looking on the way it is connected and how it can be made in a different way that will make it stronger or whatever it is, right? So different people that are looking on the same thing, they have different views on the same object, but the object is the same object, right? So what is the external look and what is the internal look in those three people? That's okay. That's another question. But right now the point is that we want to relate to the inner meaning of things, right? So when we are looking on the reality, we don't want to look at it as it can be that you're also an architect and you need to look at it also as an architect or a carpenter or whatever it is, but to practice this way of Jewish meditation, we want to learn and practice how to look on the world around us through those eyes of Hashem's awareness. What does it mean, Hashem's awareness? It means, okay, that will be the next paragraph. Let's read it.
On an even higher level, one can observe the divine providence of Hashem, who arranged several actions until he brought that bookcase there to hold those books. So, too, we must also become accustomed to looking at the world in general, and ourselves in particular, with more inner eyes. We need to see ourselves as a spiritual essence that is not limited to the physical body.
Okay? And the same way that we are practicing to look on ourselves in this way, we should also practice to look on the world around us in this way. So, when you have someone that you're looking on and the physical appearance of this person might be terrible, okay? But it could be that inside of this terrible external look, there is a beautiful soul, okay? So how do you look on people? You're relating to the physical appearance of them, or you trying to achieve inner look to see the beauty of the person's soul that is in front of you. Okay, I'm not saying that people should not to care about the external. Okay, we should. Part of the tikkun is also the tikkun of the external. Hashem gave us a physical body and a physical world to take care of, and that's part of our tikkun. But we have to have a certain priority of what is more important, what is the major, what is the minor, right? So if something is not right externally, okay, so we can live with it. Maybe it's not comfortable, but we can live with it. But if something is not right internally, it should have been that's unbearable. We have to fix it. We have to take care of it. But in matter of fact, for most of the world, it's exactly the other way around. Whatever we don't see externally, don't worry about it. It's fine. People can be corrupted, can be whatever, but we don't see it outside. It looks like a nice person, you have a nice house, nice car, so okay, whatever, whatever he's doing in his private life, we don't see it, fine. Right? But it should be, it's not right. We should look on what is the inner core, what's going inside, right? And there is levels upon levels of what does this mean inside, but we have to do the tikkun also externally, but more important is the internally.
One connects to his soul through refinement with spiritual growth measures. Moreover, one can elevate his soul by using kavana, proper intention. These measures include, but are not limited to, meditating on the greatness of Hashem and His creations, purifying the body, doing mitzvahs, refining character traits, and most important, studying Torah.
Okay, so Hashem gave us the Torah and the mitzvot for that purpose. Okay? Obviously, we can find many reasons of learning Torah and doing mitzvot, but the main point is to do those tikkunim. Okay? When we have a society that is based on Torah and mitzvot, the way it should be practiced, everything goes smoothly. Everything have an answer. Everything have the balance, and people can grow and without bothering each other, without harming each other, and so on and so forth. Okay? And also, it has the inner quality, which is refinement of all of the inner dirtiness that is inside of us from the sin of Adam Arishon. Okay? So if we will apply those principles and we will live and practice the mitzvot, learn Torah with this awareness of bringing the light of Hashem and letting the light of Hashem to go through ourselves, through our being, to do all of those tikkunim, so then that will give us the process, that will give us the way of refinement to grow and to elevate and to connect to Hashem in higher and higher extent, higher and higher levels, and that will bring us the fulfillment and the happiness and everything, all of the blessings that we want, spiritual, emotional, physical, into our life. So Bezrat Hashem, I hope that we will be there to do the work and enjoy the way and take advantage of all of those wonderful presents enjoy the ride and take advantage of all of those wonderful presents that Hashem gave us, right? And this is bringing the glory of Hashem, revealing the light of Hashem in the world, and this is, matter of fact, the goal of the creation. Thank you very much. Amen.